Today I'm sitting here with our youngest daughter, youngest child, Nikiwe Grace Snyman. Nikki is finishing school this year. So you can imagine Carolyn and I thinking about next year, and we're kind of losing our breath. We think, oh my gosh, what is going to happen to Nikki after this? Who's going to help us to look after her? I remember so well, a number of years ago now, when Melody, our firstborn, went to university the first time. In fact, she went to a university that was 2,000 kilometers away from our home. We're just living in a rural little place, and we sent her to this big city to go to university. Before Melody left that night, I said to her, Melody, the most important thing you can do is when you get to the university, the first Sunday, you go to a church and you go right up to the pastor and you say to him, my name is Melody Snyman, and my dad said, you must take responsibility for me. Melody did that to the letter, and they cared for her. Not only did they care for her, she found a husband in that church. And so it went so well, and we are so grateful. Who do you trust your children with? Who did Jesus trust when he spoke and thought about the most vulnerable children that belonged to him? Well, in Luke 9:48, which is our watchword for the year, we read this: whoever welcomes this child, this little child in my name, welcomes me. How beautiful is that? Yes, Jesus was speaking to the disciples when he said that. Jesus spoke to them, and he had this vulnerable child most probably next to him. Just before that, he healed a completely dysfunctional little boy. Maybe it was that boy. And he said, whoever would welcome this boy in my name would welcome me. And he spoke to us. He asked us, he said, I want you to care for them. You know, there's a very similar promise in the Bible. In Matthew 20 verse 40, Jesus said this: whoever welcomes or receives you in my name receives me. And yeah, he makes it very personal. He says, whoever receives you receives me. Wow, how beautiful words of that. How amazing is that? That Jesus is so personal. That he say, I care about you. I know you by name. I treat you as an individual. I know your fears. I know your vulnerabilities. I know your challenges. And whoever welcomes you, man, he or she welcomes me personally. I love that. It's beautiful and it's personal. Jesus is doing that because he's expressing the love of the Father. You see, Jesus knew our Father's love for us. And that's why he pulled out all the stops. In fact, he laid his life down so that you could feel welcome. How beautiful is that? Now, I want to tell you, last year I went to Namibia to go and visit Melody. Melody lives in Namibia now. That's a country right next to South Africa in the west. Melody is out of university now for a long time. And one day while I stayed in their home, I watched her as she started packing this huge basket full of food. And when she never said a word why she was doing it, but when she was finished, she carried this basket to her car and put it in a back seat, and she said to me, I'll be back just now. I was curious and I said, can I come with you? She said, yeah, you can come with. And off we drove. And yes, we drove straight to a university in Namibia. When we got to the university, we pulled in between two buildings. There was nobody in sight except one girl standing against the wall. I remember she was steady looking. Melody got out of the car, she took the basket of food, she walked up to the girl, she gave her the food, she gave her this huge hug, she prayed over her, she whispered something in her ear, and Melody turned around and she walked back and she got into the car, and she sat next to me, and I saw tears in her eyes, and she looked up at me and she said to me, she comes from a village far away, and she came to a big city. And the moment she said that, I remembered many years ago I sent my daughter from a small village to a big city. When you receive that love, you give that love. Now through Hands at Work, you, me, Nikiwe, all of us have got this opportunity to make it personal and to welcome these children that nobody else knows about. What a privilege. How beautiful is that, to do to others what was done to us first. As we drove back to Melody's house, I was thinking about Nikki. And maybe I was a little less anxious at night, because I thought, you know what? We're going to send her and we're going to say to her, somebody will care for you. Somebody will look after you and love you. And not only is that going to be good for Nikki then, but that's going to set her up in life. And I can already see Nikki one day, if God spares me and I can watch her, putting that basket in the back of her car and finding the most vulnerable. That's our legacy. That's our call.
Thank you for joining us. www.handsatwork.org